you and me, this lady is, Secretary of Education, right, very good. Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, last week went before Congress and is asking for something pretty big. She wants to cut the education budget of America by $7 billion. She wants to take $7 billion out of public schools, which is a pretty bold move for the Secretary of Education to do. Now, a lot of people were not happy about this and became less happy when they found out where the money was being cut from. I mean, like, in general, schools don't have a lot of money. There are many issues that Lincoln Way has, but too much money is not one of our issues. So the thing is, the money will come from many places. But one of those places is going to be right here. They will be giving millions of dollars in cuts to people who aren't blind. Essentially, blind students will no longer have millions of dollars in support. That was not real popular when she brought that up in Congress, as was the other thing. She will completely eliminate funding for what program? You would know? Close. There will be cuts for autism as well. Completely eliminate the special games, the Special Olympics. Complete elimination, removal from funding for America. Now, it's not real popular. It turns out a lot of people were pretty upset by this. Like, a lot of people, they get covered in major newspapers. Trump has since walked back, saying, oh, okay, I'm just kidding, we're not going to do that. So it looks like the special games will keep their funding for now. But obviously, like, cuts like those matter a great deal, both to you and to me. All right, next story is going to be about the Russian internet. Over the weekend, Russia decided to pass a law which will allow them to censor the internet in Russia. This is a very big deal. It means that when you Google something in Russia, you don't get all of the results back. You get whatever Russia's government wants you to see. And that is a really big step towards dictatorship. The problem with this is that we get so much of our freedom from the internet. When you hear something on TV or from a friend, you can go to the internet to check, fact check, and find out is that the truth or not. And that option is being removed in Russia. It just no longer will be there. It's passed through the Russian legislature, and Vladimir Putin is going to sign it. But we look at this map right here, it shows which countries have the most freedom of internet. And you will see that Russia does not do red. It's already in the red, which means under surveillance, and black, hello. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay. And black, of course, is like China, really not doing so good. But you might also notice that America doesn't even show up in the top category. We do not have total internet freedom here in America, and that has only happened in the last few years. What did America lose in the last 3 years? Do you know? Do you know this term we're going to talk about in current events next week? Very good. It is called net neutrality, which we just got rid of a few years ago. And we'll talk a lot about what that means. It's a whole different deal. We'll cover that next week, all right? But essentially it means that Russia's government can now monitor its citizens through the internet, and that is a scary thing. So we get it done? I have a friend who lives in Russia, and when I email him, I'm careful about what I put in there. I will actually change things and say, you know what, I don't want to say that because I would worry that it will, like, the Russian government will spy on him. Like a black van will show up to his house and cart him away, and I'll never see him again. So these are like real fears that I have because my friend is an American living in Russia. But it's also important because of Vladimir Putin himself. Putin won election last year for like the 4th time. And that does not come as a surprise to anyone, because while they say they are a democracy in Russia, I want to explain to you how the election worked. There were 4 people that ran for president. Vladimir Putin is the first, and he won. But the guys he were up against was this guy right here, Alexei Navalny. Now, Navalny had to drop out of the race. The reason he dropped out is because he was arrested by the police for embezzlement. It turns out the charges were fake. There was no evidence. He was eventually let out of jail. But if you are charged with a crime in Russia, you can no longer run for president ever again. That was pretty convenient. He just happened to be arrested right during the middle of the race and had to drop out. His second opponent was this guy, Garry Kasparov, who was once the greatest chess player in the world. He's the world champion of chess. He's running for president in Russia. He didn't win either because halfway through the campaign, he had to flee the country because of death threats against him and his family. Again, awfully convenient. And the last guy he ran against was Boris Nemtsov, who did not win either. He actually got very few votes for a reason. Nemtsov was killed during the election. He was assassinated by gunmen while he was running against Vladimir Putin. This is the problem. People who run against Putin end up going to jail or being killed or fleeing the country. And so this is a real issue. This is the problem, part of the problem with Russia and how we want to make sure that America does not go down that same road. Now, we do have a little bit of internet censorship here in the US, but we actually saw this in a story last week. One of the guys in Congress is this man right here. His name is Devin Nunes. And Nunes was in the news last year. He gave a bunch of information to Donald Trump, which you're not supposed to do. Congress and the White House should not be sharing information. But he's suing a company for defamation this week. And the company he's suing is Twitter. He's saying essentially that Twitter is making fun of him and he wants money for that. Now, you live in America. You know that is not the way that it works. We're allowed to make fun of our politicians. This is a crazy lawsuit. But it's more funny because of who he is suing. He has to sue the actual accounts that are making fun of him. And the primary account making fun of him is this one right here, which is called Devin Nunes' mom. Now, it is not his actual mom. It is someone who created this fake account and is acting like his mother on the internet. But again, like, you cannot sue someone for doing it. It's kind of funny, but it's definitely not illegal. And the problem is that he's now suing him. He's also, in addition to that, suing this Twitter account right here, Devin Nunes' cow. Again, not his real cow, but it is an account in which the subscriber is essentially giving out all these messages making fun of the congressman. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is the kind of stuff that shows up on the Twitter feed. But the problem is this is called, of course, lighthearted fun. You're allowed to do this on the American internet. But in the actual lawsuit, that means that if you read the actual lawsuit in the U.S. government, Devin Nunes has to sue his mom and his cow. And the actual legal words inside of it are amazing because it says things like Devin Nunes' cow is suing and attacking Nunes on the internet, or like Devin Nunes' mom, his cow engaged in a vicious attempt to Nunes alive. This is a real court document, ladies and gentlemen. That is amazing. On top of this, if you look at Nunes' actual Twitter, he has 32,000 subscribers, not bad for a member of Congress, but his cow is currently at 600,000 subscribers, which is really pretty impressive for a barnyard animal. Okay, last story I've got for you before we move on is about the USDA, which is the U.S. Department of what? It is agriculture. Their job is to make sure the food you eat is safe. And a new report came out last week. The USDA has said that produce, fruits and vegetables that you buy at the grocery store, even after you wash them, still contain what on top of their skin? Pesticides, chemicals they use to kill bugs, and you are still eating them even after you wash it. And the report says that even after a good washing, those produce, depending on the vegetable, will still contain about 70% of the original chemicals used in the pesticide. That's what you're eating every time you eat fruit and vegetables, 70% chemicals on the skin. That is horrifying. And it varies per vegetable, ladies and gentlemen. It's not always the same. The worst, by the way, the ones that keep the most chemicals when you eat them are going to be strawberries. You like strawberries? Yeah. All the little nooks and crannies, all the chemicals get stuck in there. They don't come out when you wash them. More than that, number 2 is going to be spinach. You like spinach? Solid green. No? Oh, that makes it strong. Nothing? And the worst offender by far, 92% of chemicals still on it after washing is kale, ladies and gentlemen. Kale, which I don't know if you've had before. Pesticide could only improve the taste of this food. It's absolutely disgusting. All right. The best, by the way, is going to be pineapple. Pineapple apparently very safe to eat, even pesticide-free. You guys like pineapple? Pineapple's good?
Yeah, isn't it?
Exactly. Cutting out mostly so you're not getting the chemicals on it very good. It doesn't leach through the pineapple skin. Pineapple is the most acidic fruit that you eat, ladies and gentlemen. What that means is, have you ever eaten a lot of pineapple before and like your tongue feels tingly after you've eaten it? You know what I'm talking about? That's because while you're eating the pineapple is eating you back. It is actually dissolving and attacking your skin. It's essentially attacking you with acid, which is amazing. If you can take like chicken breasts and you can put them in a bag with like fruit juices and it's called a marinade. It'll soak into the like lemon will soak into the skin of the chicken and make it taste like lemon. You cannot do this with pineapple juice because if you pour pineapple juice into a bag and put a chicken breast in, it will eat the chicken. You will take it out like 6 hours later. It'll just be a giant soup of liquid chicken and pineapple juice all together. Do not do this. All right. Last thing we got to move on is this right here. Pineapple is originally known by this name right here. The Native Americans from Brazil called it ananas, is the name of this fruit right there. And in fact, it is the same name in almost every language you can see by this chart. No matter what language it is, they use the word ananas to describe this fruit, unless you happen to speak English, and we call it pineapple for no reason. It literally has nothing to do with the actual name. The reason for it was that we thought it looked like a pine cone that you eat like an apple, so it is a pineapple. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's get started. We got